Now, you filed a bill relating to good conduct time for inmates, Senate Bill 676 to be precise. Walk me through what exactly would that bill entail?
So most of our viewers are familiar with the Gideons, right? We know folks involved in the Gideons. There are probably Gideons who are watching. The group's been around a long time. We think of them as putting Bibles in hotel rooms and schools and prisons. They do a lot of work in prisons. So a wonderful Gideon from Henderson over in East Texas contacted us about this. There's a lot of work in the Department of Criminal Justice by the Gideons and other faith-based groups. And I think people realize intuitively that studying the Bible, studying religious texts, tends to have a positive effect on people. There have been studies that have confirmed this, Rutgers University, Baylor University. So right now, for those prisoners, they're encouraged to do agricultural, vocational, other treatment programs and get good time credit. Again, if they act right, follow the rules, and they're taking these courses, we've learned that they're less likely to commit crimes again when they get out. And so the concept behind this bill is to make sure that if we have inmates that are studying the Bible, studying religious texts, we know that's probably going to make them better citizens and less likely to be criminals when they get out. So we want to encourage that. We want to make sure the Board of Pardons and Paroles knows about it for this particular inmate who's taking these courses. And we also want to make sure that the inmates know about the courses that are available. So that's the idea behind the bill.
So, would this just apply to the Bible or other religious texts as well?
So the Gideons are Bible people, like, again, most folks watching this probably are. As you know, we have freedom of religion in America, so this would apply to all religious texts. And so, and most of the studies that have been done apply to all religious texts. And so, obviously, in America, people are free to believe what they want to believe, as much or as little, and we don't legislate what religion or any religion, but this would apply to all religious texts.
And just so I'm 100% clear here, that's specifically what this bill is changing, is just the ability for inmates to be awarded good conduct time if they read religious texts. All the other items are staying the same.
You bet. There's all kinds of courses they can take, and many are Bible courses. And so we want to make sure that the Bible courses, and that's what most of the religious text courses are in Texas prisons, but to make sure the studies of religious texts, which have been proven to reduce recidivism, which is the likelihood of an inmate to commit more crimes when they get out. We want to make sure that we're encouraging them to do that. And if they are, that's being recognized.
Now, some people may look at this bill and feels like it oversteps a boundary, the separation of church and state. What's your response to that criticism?
Yeah, we hear that a lot. And as you know, that phrase does not appear in the Constitution. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So this comes up when we talk about the Ten Commandments in schools and public places, about Bible courses in schools. And again, whether you believe the Bible is the Word of God, as I do, as I know, whether you believe that or not, we all know that studying religious texts tends to make people better citizens. So that's really all this is about.
If there are inmates who are non-religious, though, maybe they feel like this bill, is going against them, what would you say to some of those folks?
Just like an inmate who doesn't want to take a vocational course or doesn't want to take a high school equivalency course, no one is forcing them to do that. If they do take those courses, that helps. It makes them better citizens and it gives them credit. We just want to treat religious courses the same way.
And sort of on a broader picture, what impact do you feel this bill would have on Texas?
When people get out of prison, we don't want them committing more crimes. We understand that. If we're afraid of someone, if they're a violent criminal and they're a threat to society, we're going to lock them up. They belong in prison. Other people who are nonviolent, who are being rehabilitated, who are going to get out, it's in all of our interest to make sure that they are less likely to commit more crimes when they do get out. So it's about redemption for that individual, and it's about keeping our whole society safer. And if they don't commit crimes when they get out, we won't have to put them back in prison, which would cost a lot of money. So this is a win all around as we see it.
And do you foresee this bill actually making it to the governor's desk?
We do. This is not controversial. As you know, anybody can oppose a bill who wants to. And if this bill moves forward, there'll be a hearing and there'll be testimony, and folks can testify for and against. We're going to listen to everybody we hear from, but we're optimistic. This is the kind of bill that we would expect to make it all the way to the governor's desk.
And I know you mentioned that you may file an amendment to this bill, if I heard you correctly. Would you mind detailing a bit of that?
You bet. So we're working with the Department of Criminal Justice, the folks who run the prisons, to make sure that this lines up with their procedures. And so it's really technical stuff, so we may file another version of the bill. The goal will be the same: to encourage inmates to study religious texts and to recognize if they complete those courses, like they're completing agricultural courses and vocational courses. If they complete those courses, they get credit for that. So that's where we want to get, and we're working with the Department of Criminal Justice to make sure we get all the details right to fit into their system.
Is there anything else you would like to tell our audience relating to this bill on good conduct policy?
But no, you've hit this well. Thank you. Again, the agency, the Department of Criminal Justice, is working with us. The Faith and Freedom Coalition, which many people will be familiar with, and their head of Texas operations, Don Garner, is also working on this. And so we're going to have a lot of support.